Listen carefully, because what I'm about to explain is the real reason most traders never become profitable. It's not the strategy. It's not the market conditions. It's not bad luck. It's psychology. The same psychology that makes you hesitate when you should act, the same psychology that makes you act when you should wait, the same psychology that slowly drains your account while convincing you that you're almost there. This is the psychology that makes you lose trades. And until you understand it, nothing else you learn will matter. Let's start with the first principle. Trading is not a technical game. It's a behavioral game. You are not competing against the market. You are competing against your own impulses. Every chart you look at is neutral. Every setup you analyze is just probability. But the moment you enter a trade, everything changes. Now, emotions are involved. Now, your identity is involved. Now, your fear, your ego, your expectations, all of it enters the equation. And that's where most traders begin to lose. The first psychological pattern that destroys traders is the need to be right. Most people come into trading with the mindset of winning. They want to be right on every trade. They want to prove their analysis is correct. They want validation. But the market doesn't reward being right. It rewards being consistent. When you need to be right, you start holding losing trades too long. You refuse to accept that your idea failed. You move your stop loss. You justify the trade. You hope instead of acting. And hope is not a strategy. The market doesn't care about your opinion. It only responds to order flow and liquidity. So when you attach your identity to a trade, you lose objectivity. And when you lose objectivity, you lose control. The second psychological pattern is fear of loss. This one is subtle, but extremely powerful. You open a trade. It's a good setup. It aligns with your strategy. But as soon as price moves slightly against you, your mind starts racing. What if I'm wrong? What if I lose money? What if this is a bad trade? So you close early. Not because your setup failed, but because your emotions couldn't handle uncertainty. Then price moves exactly in your favor after you exit. This creates frustration, and that frustration leads to the next mistake. The third psychological pattern is chasing the market. Now you feel like you missed out, so you jump back in. But this time, you're not entering based on logic, you're entering based on emotion. You enter late, your risk is worse, your timing is off, and the market reverses. Now you take a loss. This cycle repeats over and over again. Fear causes early exits. Frustration causes late entries, and both lead to losses. The fourth psychological pattern is greed. Greed is not just about wanting more money. It's about ignoring your plan because of possibility. You're in profit. Your target is clear. But instead of closing, you think, maybe it can go further. So you hold. You watch the profit grow. Then you watch it shrink. And instead of closing when your plan says, you wait, hoping it comes back. Sometimes it does. Most times it doesn't. And what started as a good trade turns into a bad one. That's greed overriding discipline. The fifth pattern is revenge trading. This is one of the most destructive behaviors in trading. You take a loss, then another. Now your mindset shifts. You're no longer calm, you're reactive. You feel the need to recover what you lost. So you increase your position size. You take trades without confirmation. You abandon your rules. At this point, you are not trading the market anymore. You are fighting it. And the market always wins that fight. Revenge trading is not about money, it's about ego. And ego has no place in trading. The sixth pattern is overtrading. You feel like you need to be active all the time. You open charts constantly. You look for setups that aren't really there, because being inactive feels like missing out. But trading is not about activity, it's about precision. The best traders spend more time waiting than trading. But most beginners do the opposite. They trade constantly and wonder why their results are inconsistent. Now here's something important. All these psychological mistakes come from one root cause: lack of emotional control. Not lack of knowledge, not lack of intelligence, emotional control. Because in trading, your biggest opponent is not the market, it's your own mind. So the question becomes, how do you fix it? The answer is not motivation. Motivation is temporary. You feel good for a moment, then you go back to old habits. What you need is structure. You need systems that remove emotion from decision-making. The first step is creating a clear trading plan. You must know exactly when you enter, when you exit, how much you risk. If your rules are vague, your decisions will be emotional. Clarity reduces hesitation. The second step is accepting losses. You will lose trades. That is not a failure. That is part of the system. If you cannot accept losses, you will always fight them. And fighting losses lead to bigger losses. The third step is reducing risk. If your position size is too large, your emotions will be intense. You will panic. You will react. But when your risk is controlled, your mind stays calm. Calm decisions lead to consistent results. The fourth step is tracking your behavior. Not just your trades, your behavior. What were you feeling when you entered? Why did you exit early? Why did you break your rules? When you start observing yourself, you gain awareness. And awareness is the first step to change. The fifth step is discipline through repetition. You don't become disciplined by thinking about it. You become disciplined by doing the right thing repeatedly, following your plan again and again, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable, because discipline is built, not given. Now, let's go deeper. There is a shift that every successful trader makes, a shift from outcome thinking to process thinking. Beginners focus on results. How much did I make? Did I win or lose? Professionals focus on execution. Did I follow my plan? Did I manage risk correctly? Because they understand something critical. You can lose a good trade, and you can win a bad trade. But only one of those leads to long-term success. If you focus on outcomes, your emotions will control you. If you focus on process, your actions will stay consistent. And consistency is what creates profitability. Another key concept is emotional detachment. You must learn to separate yourself from your trades. A losing trade does not mean you are a bad trader. A winning trade does not mean you are a good trader. It's just one outcome in a series. When you detach emotionally, you stop reacting. And when you stop reacting, you start thinking clearly. Now understand this. The market will test you. It will test your patience, your discipline, your emotional stability. It will create situations where breaking your rules feels justified. And in those moments, your true level is revealed. Not when things are easy, but when things are difficult. That's when psychology matters most. Because anyone can follow rules when they're comfortable, but only professionals follow rules under pressure. So what separates successful traders from failing ones? It's not knowledge, it's behavior under stress. Now, let me give you something practical. Before every trade, ask yourself, am I following my plan or am I reacting to emotion? If the answer is emotion, do not take the trade. After every trade, ask yourself, did I execute correctly or did I break my rules? If you broke your rules, that's your real loss. Not the money, because money can be recovered, but bad habits destroy accounts over time. Now here's the final truth. You don't need more strategies. You don't need more indicators. You need more control. control over your thoughts, control over your actions, control over your reactions. Because in trading, the difference between success and failure is not information, it's execution. And execution is psychological. So if you want to improve, stop searching for the perfect setup. Start working on your mindset. Because the psychology that makes you lose trades is the same psychology you must master to start winning. And that mastery doesn't happen overnight. It happens one decision at a time, one disciplined trade at a time, one moment of control at a time. So the next time you open your charts, remember this. The market is not your enemy. Your emotions are. And if you can control them, you can control your results.